Simo, the facility, it's going to be pretty special.
Yeah, look, it's amazing how quick it's all started. Really, this time in 18 months. Sorry, this time in 2 years probably it's going to be alive. So we'll train here in pre-season as well to get us used to the new stadium. So we're really looking forward to that.
How significant is that, just to build, because it's going to be different dimensions and dramatically different?
Yeah, look, it'll help. We've got to get used to a new sized oval, and what was seen as a bit of an advantage at stages over our journey will be taken away from us. So, and the other oval being MCG or Etihad size will be important as well.
Simo, do you actually get benefit from training on the exact dimensions of the ground? And if you do, how much is it? Can you measure it?
I think a one-off is probably limited, but when you train as much as you want on an oval on the size where you might be playing, in the future, it has got benefit. So to have the two, it's really three ovals because we can adjust one of them to any size we want. So that's part of the benefit of having two ovals.
I guess having the MCG dimension's nice, but you'd probably want more games there to actually practice on it.
Oh, that's always our request. We don't get more than 2 or 3 a year, so there was a lot of questions asked early in the year about handling the MCG, but that was about round 7, and other issues have popped up. So the fact that we can train here pre-season as much as we want, we can use that oval. That's going to help us.
Look at fast tracking it in 3 weeks' time if you need to.
Oh yeah, well maybe. Let's get on with next week, but. Obviously it was a big game for us on the weekend, and to qualify how we did was sensational. But we've moved on from that one, and now it's about Port Adelaide.
Can you talk us through this week? You obviously went through it last year. Port
didn't.
What will you change this week to be better ready for that opening bounce?
It's just a different dynamic now. We come off 2 6-day breaks last year and 3 really good wins. Played on a Thursday night against a team who, at the time hadn't achieved what they had after that, and it was something we really learnt from. So we reflected on it straight away, and we looked at it again this week.
So did you rest them up a bit last time?
Sorry, boys.
What can you take from what the Bulldogs did? I mean, they obviously went on that crazy run, and a lot of it had maybe to do with that bye. Can you take anything from them?
No, we're not looking at that. We're looking at Port and what we need to do to win that game and how we prepare best for that. So the Bulldogs, I think everyone will talk about drawing on that, but that was their journey, so we need to create our own.
Simo, is it fair to say, though, I think you mentioned it in there as well, you will benefit from the bye this time around, because last year it appeared you did have the momentum almost rolling on, would have maybe have been a better thing, but this year you'll benefit from it?
Oh, look, I think it does benefit the bottom 4 sides in the 8. So with the preparation and play availability, for us getting over a big game that we had on the weekend, so we'll take the weekend off.
Even someone like a JK obviously missed that block of footy coming back now 5-6 weekends. He plays a pretty physical and demanding game of footy, and everyone sort of thinks he's a bit sore. Is he one that as well that can also benefit from that?
Everyone will benefit from an extended break before the first final, so including JK. But guys are in pretty good health at the moment. So parts of our lines have been pretty consistent in terms of availability, so we'll leverage off that.
You are an older side, Simo. Does it help older teams that bye coming into finals as having that break, you think?
I don't see it as an age thing. We probably look a bit older because we've got 2 or 3 players who are 35, 36 years old, but we've got some experience there, and no doubt we'll draw on that.
You train more, less, harder, easier than last year?
It's different. Last year we played on a Thursday night, so we're playing on a Saturday night, so it's just different. It's a different program, but we'll reflect on what we did without going into too much detail.
The experience of Mitchell showed on the weekend, didn't it, and how much of an advantage him going through that finals that he has, or all those finals that he has, will that be on the team, do you think?
Oh yeah, we'll use Sam as much as we can, and obviously Drew. But we've got some players now who've gone through, it's their 3rd campaign, played in a grand final, a lot of our players, and have had a couple of really good wins and a couple of really disappointing losses in our campaign. So I think there's a lot of players who've got experience in finals footy, and it's getting the best out of our players next week is our aim.
How different is Port to Adelaide and what you did against Adelaide? How much of a change up is it?
Look, I've always said when you get to these games and these finals that you need to play your brand and play it as well as you can, and you're aware of the opposition, you'll put some work into it, but you've got to play at your best as a team first and foremost, and that's our focus.
When do you make a call on Nick?
He won't play next week, so that's the call we're making at the moment.
How's Jerry McGovern's shoulder?
He's good. Yeah, he's fine. There's a bit of a stinger, so he came back on and finished off the game really well. He's probably one of our best players.
The footy experts are laughing that you're even contemplating Nick. Does it seem funny for you? I mean, he's such an X factor. Come if it does go to prelim final, grand final.
Oh, the contemplation is you guys. I get asked it every day, so I'm not going to rule him out completely, but he won't play next week.
Is he banging on the door? Is he coming in and
there's
saying, I want to
a little
play?
gentle tap on the door at the moment. So and he's a competitor. He wants to contribute. He's been watching us from the sidelines for 12 months. So it won't be Nick's decision.
What is it that's holding him back? Because the knee's healed. So is it just a match fitness thing? What is it? Is that final step that's stopping you from playing him next week?
Yeah, it's still, technically he hasn't done a full pre-season. So he's back training with the players. He's done a lot of hard work in the gym, and he's in really good nick. But he hasn't played a game. Hasn't gone into a contest with real anger. Hasn't gone into a handball game. Hasn't gone into a competitive scrimmage, so there's a fair bit of water to go under the bridge. So I don't think this week's going to be about Nick. I don't think next week's going to be about Nick either.
Could you this week organise some sort of situation where he can get involved?
Are you talking about Nick again? I thought I just iced that one.
This will be the last one, I promise.
Look, I'm not going to push anything. So whatever his program is and continues to be, won't change, and we'll assess it if and when. But there's no point talking about Nick if we can't win next week. So that's our number one focus.
Talk about Nathan Vardy, your actual ruckman.
Yes, now.
Big challenge for him if he's going to go up against Paddy Ryder. He's had a good year. He's come and he's done what you wanted him to do. What does he have to do next week?
Well, he's just got to compete, and obviously we've got Drew in the background as well. Paddy's probably got the Brownlow votes in both games we played this year against Port. So he's an All-Australian. I'd anticipate an All-Australian ruckman this year. So he's a massive task for our players and our rucks. Our rucks, we've tip our lid a little bit. They've performed really well for where they come from. But I would have thought that those guys were another level, and that's our challenge to match that.
Just the Perth Stadium, the announcement, the NRL is going to get the first game over footy. How does that make you feel being an Aussie rules man?
Yeah, I'm not. Is that official or is that a suggestion? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's not really my area of concern at the moment. I've got to be honest, I haven't thought about it too much, but we can't wait to play there, and hopefully it's round one.
Sim, I imagine the three All-Australian nominees or people up for it, Kennedy, Gov and also Yo, I imagine you'd like to see all three in?
Yeah, look, it's an honour. It's growing stronger every year, the All-Australian, how they're doing it and how they're handling the squads and all those things. So we're really proud they got those guys nominated, and hopefully they get in.
You mentioned before his squad has been to grand finals, a lot of finals campaigns. You only get a certain amount of opportunities in your life to win one. Are you sensing that a lot of these blokes now in that window of we've got to make hay while the sun shines?
To be honest, there's no outlook on dreaming. We just want to get next week done. So the fact is, you do only get a few opportunities in your career. This is our third crack at it, and more and more we feel like with the week off and how the season and the clubs are presenting, anything's possible. But our number one priority is getting this week right and then get our prep for Port right next week.
Another one on Nick. No.